our equipment. We still can't get our cameras to stream in 4K. I don't know why. It's making me angry. When they're used as a webcam, they're only pushing 1080. But hopefully we'll get that figured out. But we do have 3 cameras. So Steve is going to show you right now. We're at camera 1. This is where I'll be talking to you guys. Hopefully not too loud because I have a mic. So if I getting in the red, Steve's going to let me know. We got a roof camera, which is camera 2. And then we've got camera 3 over here, which would be our door camera. And eventually camera 2 we can switch so you can see what we're doing when we start doing forcible entry. So back to camera 1. Welcome to the Fdic preview. So this is just showcasing some of the stuff we'll have at Fdic. This year is a bit of a showcasing, prototyping year. And actually, the one thing I forgot, and Steve is going to go grab for me over on the wall, probably actually in the back room, is the stitch hook with the grip on it. So this year we're going to have stitch hooks there. We're going to have plenty of fire wrap. We're going to have discounted fire wrap, discounted stitch hooks. We're going to have tech hammers, and then we're showcasing some new things as well. And a lot of those are prototypes. The one that's not is our tech bar or tech set that we are showcasing, and we will be going into production on. We've got a couple fine-tuning things, but we're showcasing the prototypes. We have all 2 of these. They will make our tech set. We will be showing this off at Fdic as well. The rest are basically concepts that we are looking at going into production on. You guys get to try them out, and we'll be testing a few over here on the roof prop here, the king prop that we have. So, but this one is going to be a good to go, and we'll do a little bit of forcible entry there in a minute on this guy and how you can marry on each end, basically make a full-size length halogen bar practically out of a 10-pound iron set. Pretty cool little thing. So you get to come see that at Fdic as well. Before anybody asks, which I'm sure they might, where's our Chicago ads? Well, our last email, we said they'd be shipping April, May. They went into production. The final production, we were there for it, where they're doing roughly, I think, 800 more units. They're being forged now. They'll be forging the fork end next. They did the ads end. Then they got to be finished, and they got to be finished exactly the same, exactly how we want it. So they're getting done right now, guys. Finally, a year and a half into it. I know, can't believe Fdic seems to be par for the course for us, but been a long time. Again, production at scale, getting that finishing exactly where we want it, because these guys are not firemen. It's just continual training and make sure we get it right? So we want to make sure it gets right when it gets to your hand. So we should be seeing those probably by the time we finish Fdic. That first batch is rolling in. We'll be shipping them through the end of April and through May for those orders that we have built up. About 500 units got to go out the door. So give us time, but they are right there, and they are looking pretty, guys. So just wanted to answer that question before it came up. We will post this video later, so you'll have access to it on our YouTube at all times. So you'll always be able to pull that up. So any questions or comments come up yet, Steve? Nothing yet, huh? All right, so let's get into it. So hopefully you guys got our email. Hopefully you're tuning in. Hopefully you're on our website. Check it out. See our live feed on there as well. But of course, you can find us here on Facebook and YouTube as well. But we got a roof prop over here, and one of the things that we're touching base on and really testing, and if you haven't signed up for our drill yard class, we got 2 classes. They're a tool tactics class. It's basically a tool tactics intro class where we're just exploring some things that we take for granted and some new ways of doing things on forcible entry, 2 bar and bar techniques, Chicago adds techniques, flexing the door, taking advantage of that, and then analyzing roof work. And I think a lot of stuff people take for granted because most of the time our roof work is on training props, right? Our concept of what a real roof is always maybe that 1/2-inch OSB or even 1/2-inch plywood again, in reality, those are not the roofs I'm really concerned about, right? What I'm concerned about is multi-layered, right? Thick material, not something I can just bash in. Whatever roof where you can just slice and bash in, it's easy day, right? That's easy day. I'm not concerned about it, right? So over here on the roof prop, up top, we got that cheapo 1/2-inch OSB, those easy walkable roofs with just a single layer sheeting, maybe some shingles on there or clay tiles on top you knock off and then just punch through. That stuff's super easy. I don't really care what tool you use. In fact, here in a minute, we might even see what our hydrant axe does. I'm calling this our hydrant axe. It's a pipe wrench with a cheater bar. So we're gonna be able to see maybe what that does on that and see if it works, right? Down below here, we got 5/8 plywood. So not super thick. I think at FDIC, we're gonna double that up. So we have over 1 inch of material and really showcasing the type of roofs that gives us trouble, which is like sheeting or sheeting on top of decking boards instead of just decking boards, those sorts of things, stuff that, like I said, the tough stuff, right? And so we got 5/8 here, and we're gonna be exploring a little bit of a new concept here on blades. So we've got Reaper 3.0. It is only a 1/2 inch thick blade. It's the same thickness all the way down. It comes into our shoulder system. Our shoulder system is our patented system. It allows us to roll out of the cut. And we're gonna explore how this performs on plywood. And it actually performs really well. The only current change we're looking at is this blade is pointed somewhat. I don't want to call it sharp, but it is pointed, right? So one of the things we found out is that makes our entry hole super thin. So even though my blade is only 1/2 inch, it still wants to bind slightly, and I can feel that. We're very, very big here on analyzing the minute, finer details of every single tool we produce. And that, again, that's stuff that people normally just take for granted and they don't explore. Well, again, this design, I like this point. I like this piercing point. I don't like feeling how it binds a little bit. So we found out, and we got another version over here, we found out we take this flat, almost like a flat blade, no edge at all, cuts to when we remember people saying, well, don't sharpen your blade too much because it gets stuck. What happens is this is so small, again, entry hole becomes small, plywood sheeting wants to bind, right? So if we make this flat and we shear, much like using the back of your flathead axe on a smaller scale, a thinner scale, and I'm just shearing through, well, your hole size is the same size as your blade. In this case, only 1/2 inch. So you could see how I have a really high pressure because my surface area is super small and I'm just shearing through. I can then slice through on a blade system that doesn't get stuck at all because of our shoulders, because of how far this beard comes down, those sorts of things. But one thing we found, and we're gonna play with a little bit longer, taking the edge almost completely off there. I like this point. One thing that can happen with this point, if you have a lot of material, it can also catch a little bit. So we're playing with rolling at least the tip off a little bit. So we'll showcase that here in a minute. And then the other tool we have as well is the chopper. I already have some changes I want to make on this, but you get to see the concept here. The chopper is, if I'm going to have a bashing and just demolition devices, I like to have an edge, especially if I have decking boards, those sorts of things that I want to snap. I like having an edge. With this tool, you don't necessarily make a cut. I don't sit there and slice with this thing. This thing, I make a hole and I work that hole out. I start to create a hole and then I come over and create it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how this tool is designed to work. It's not necessarily designed to slice. If I do slice right now, I like having a little bit of more beef up top. But again, with these edges on there, it kind of might get caught a little bit. If I plunge through, again, with edges around this thing, if I plunge through a skinny hole, it wants to get caught up a little bit, right? And the back side of this thing, I like my wedge shape. I use this as for forcible capturing my progress. I could force a door, I could roll this, force an easy residential door. Of course, I have my marrying slot up here and below. One of the things that happened too with this though is this edge wants to catch if I plunge it through. We're gonna make changes to that. We're hopefully gonna have this surface run all the way to the top. My marrying slot's gonna be nice and thin back here, and on the bottom it's gonna be a 1/2 inch material down here, so I can actually marry right down here. So some of the changes we're doing, again, we explore every single minute detail of how this tool works and get into the weeds and make sure we get it exactly right. So we're going to showcase that here in a minute as well. This is the chopper. Again, up on our website now. You can register to be emailed when they're available. But we're going to keep plugging you guys in on the process while we develop and perfect these tools. So that is the gist of today. That is the gist of FDIC preview. I'm going to show you here a little bit. We're going to do some work on it, and that way you get a little taste of what we're going to be doing, and then we'll get into some forcible entry. So I'm going to move these out of the way. If we need it, we got the old fire maul. We can just bash the hell out of the roof. That's there as well. This is that Reaper, that other version, flattened blade, which I'm starting to like, works real well. And of course, then we have our horrible Hydronex, pipe wrench. My point, what happens when I got to not fall through this roof. Don't want to step through over there. One of the things that happens, my head might be cut off. That's all right. Let's switch the other camera, the roof camera over here. And again, make sure we can see this. Do I care what you use when it is just 1/2 inch OSB? I'm going to tell you, I don't really care what you use. I can continue to run a block all the way down when it's 1/2 inch OSB. Literally a pipe wrench, not getting stuck, being able to pull out and run a line pretty easily. I don't really care, right? Wow, we made a hole. Holy crap, how impressive that is. Switch back to camera 1. When all our training is nothing but 1/2 inch OSB, and all the tools we show off are 1/2 inch OSB, I don't care what you use. I really don't care. I'm not impressed. So, cutting to, now I swing hard enough on even this 5/8, I could probably make it work. So again, be cognizant of what we do in the fire service sometimes, which is overcome with muscle and sweat and just make it work. We could probably make our tools work a little bit better for us. So down here, 5/8, that's the type of roof where maybe I'm a little bit more concerned. And you know, our original blade system, again, we can puncture through that wedge-shaped blade and roll right out of the cut. And it works great, it works really good. But again, continuing to improve is the goal here. Continuing to make stuff that, you know, answers the question of can it be better. So that's what we're doing here. So let's take a look. And hopefully this will show off a little bit how this binds just slightly, but you will see how well it pierces. So we got Reaper 3.0. Let's go to camera 2 again. And let me know, can we see that? Yes, we can. All right. We're on camera 2 now, right? So it's hard to show in the camera. You're going to see how well this pierced, and I can do it up there on the OSB as well. It pierced really well. You can't feel the slight bind we have on there, which we'll fix with our other version that's not sharpened. But what does that look like? So I'm going to come in, pierces, let's go again, rolling right out. Now if I pull on this, I can feel it bind just slightly. But you can see how I can cut a line if I wanted to, and it's going to roll right back out. If we switch over to the one without a damn sharpened bit on it, and they just shear through. And it's hard to tell from the camera the holes I have here, but I can tell they're thinner than the blade. And if that compares to that, less binding on there, and the hole is wider. The hole over here is actually wider than this. So one was sharpened, one was dull, one didn't have an edge. So you're shearing through, making that cut a little bit wider. So I could continue to roll that. And again, the blade doesn't fully puncture through past here. I can always just pull it. I don't even have to roll it. I can just come in, and I can usually just pull it right back towards me. Nailing through 5/8 plywood like it's nothing. Go back to camera 1. Maybe you'll be able to see the cut I did here pretty easily. Just punching through and be able to pull it right back. No more having to roll it out. I can. You can stay on that camera there. I can roll it out, but I don't have to. I can just pull it towards me. Just yank it right towards me, because it's never piercing through with a beard of a blade, like a typical beard of a blade. Punctures through and gets caught. I can just take it, pull it right back. If I needed to hook sheeting, of course we got our pick on here, but if I had to hook sheeting, I can come up here, pull this to me. I could yank that sheeting by the bottom of that beard if I had to. It'll come in and hook. Maybe beneficial, right? Maybe beneficial if we saw a flathead version with a blade at some point. Maybe. But pretty cool just looking at the, again, finer details of this tool. Now, the other one, the chopper. Some of you guys might like the chopper. Dun, 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 dun. This thing is just a bludgeoning havoc device, I like to call it, and it's still a work in progress. But again, you're going to want to kind of bash and just start coming off of that cut and just start making it bigger and bigger. I'll try to do it in the middle here. We'll see what happens. Again, I don't think it's perfect yet. I think it does get hung up if you blow through. I want to improve some of those things. I want to make this triangular part, actually, I want it to taper from back here, so it's a little bit longer, but my blade is not long like an axe blade. It's nice and short, and maybe a little bit longer on the beard as well. But think about it. Roof work, cool. Finishing cuts after a saw, great. I'm knocking in material. Forcible entry, I'm hitting up top here. I'm hitting on the side if I had to. We're ramming, driving, capturing progress, right? Capturing our progress there. Extending our leverage with a Halligan bar. Pretty cool overall tool. I think more often than not, especially the more we do with forcible entry, we're not driving that much anymore. We're flexing that door out, taking advantage of that flex. But if we had to, we're right here. First-hand experience, I don't have it on me, it's in my truck, of the modified mauler I did. It ended up being only around 5 pounds, but I took that inside our first fire, and man, that thing was just destroying everything. Super lightweight, just knocking stuff down, opening up window sills with it, just breaking them apart with this, and just a havoc device. So let's go camera 2 again. And let's see if I can get this thing, hopefully start kind of creating a hole and working this hole down instead of just slicing, right? So I'm gonna come up. So there I kind of hit it. I'm gonna come next to it now. And then I'm gonna keep just bludgeoning that hole. I'm going back and forth on this thing, and you end up just beating. So instead of making cuts, you sit there and we can go back to this camera, you can probably see it better, what just happened there. So instead of making a slicing cut, I literally just go back and forth. And we know how plywood breaks apart is you start damaging and shearing off the bottom of that, and it starts peeling apart the bottom and weakening the whole system with those integrated layers. So I'm just breaking those apart as I go. So you can see instead of doing a cut here, we just sit here and bash and maul this thing, but at least I have an edge to it instead of it being flat. So it, again, generates higher pressure per swing, picks up that pressure, and I can just beat that thing in, right? So first hit, weakened. Second hit, broke apart, broke apart, broke apart, broke apart, broke apart. This is the stuff nobody ever analyzes. Nobody ever really looks at. We just had an axe and said, make it work. We put a roof axe in somebody's hand. It was actually a boarding axe from the Navy. And we said, here, make this work. And then we said, hey, this is the fireman's roof axe now. Careful, don't improving versus outworking the tool. Well, I just got to work harder than the tool. I gotta plunge it in there, and then I can use my boot to get it out. Adaptive techniques versus design techniques. Tool tactics. Your tactics should be improved by tool design, right? Or at least your tactics should be based on your tools. Any questions on roof work? Maybe it's like Saturday in the afternoon, nobody's watching. Could be, but we'll be able to review this later. So we'll stick with camera 1. I got a little bit of space here. We could either maul it, or we can just see how that bludgeoning works. You know what? Maybe I'll finish this one with the Reaper. And let me know if I'm blocking the camera too much, Steve, and feel free to switch to the other camera if you want. I can even, ooh, she's a little loose. Move that guy down slightly if we need to. So, again, slicing, bludgeoning versus slicing. Let's finish slicing, see what happens. That was the one that was sticking a little bit. Should have switched to the one that's flatter. We probably would have left a bigger hole, right? What do? Boom. Knock it in, right? The other thing with these, over here, big flat surface versus a skinny surface. Punching in. Again, why did we have this big old flat surface instead of skinny? Ramming, punching in, knocking material in after I cut it. Every feature of our tools has been thought about. It's not, we don't just throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. All right, so that's roof work. Again, FDIC, maybe we'll have doubled up. We'll have even thicker wood out there. Up top, that'll be fun. If anybody wants to try out our hydrant hacks, you can. We'll sell it to you at $1,200. It's all yours. All right, FE. FE, FE, FE. Switching cameras. Now you got a top side view. This is pine. We're good? All right, crossed 1x, this is pine. Because I think that is an accurate representation. This isn't Home Depot pine, this is milled pine from a lumber yard, a lumber mill actually. And how's my mic? Is it getting too hot? Is it going red at all? Do we know? Because I tend to yell to the camera and I forget that my mic is right here. So, we'll start with that. I think it's an accurate representation of 90% of the doors you come across. We'll check out the tech bar or tech set. Again, forcible entry, fire side of things, officer style stuff. You want something lightweight, you could do it. Police side of things, something in every patrol car. Super lightweight, but super capable, right? Something you leave in there, we can at least get in there. We can force, I would say 95% of doors. You get into some commercial stuff, it'll take a little bit of work, but 18-inch bar, 1.5 inches here. Easy pop. I could probably hold with my foot. Cool, I can. Come back over to the claw side. Go to camera. I forgot about camera 2, so you can see what's going on here. So I adds rolled. Again, just a 1x in there. Cross grain 1x, but most doors are just that, right? Got to roll, 1.5 inch roll. Take my claw side of my tool, almost like my fork side. Pop the door. Back to camera 3. Camera 3. Pop the door. Super, super easy. That's the tech bar by itself. If I had to drive it, we could get out our tech hammer, right, if I had to. Works pretty good. Works pretty good. Let's load it up. Let's make it a little harder, right? Let's go beyond what we typically see. And sometimes, loading up the door. Hey, look at that. I used this to hit something. Probably because it's got a little bit of a striking face on there. 1.5 inches all the way around. I-beam construction. Can hit here, can hit here. The only change we'll be doing is reducing this webbing underneath. This will be flat throughout. But other than that, this thing is ready to go. But let's toughen it up a little bit. So I got two crossed 1x's of pine, milled pine. Full disclosure, sometimes these are stubborn as hell, especially when they're doubled up. Again, this is more than just your Home Depot wood. It's from a mill. So sometimes it can be stubborn. Sometimes you actually have to get a Halligan bar out. But let's see if we can get this thing to perform and actually go through it when I can marry these two things together. So Steve, I'll leave it up to you when you want to switch to the top camera, if I start blocking the view too much. But you know what, let's just go to top camera now. So I could tow the door. I could try to go right to the lock. Right, let's see if we make progress. I have no problem with you starting here and seeing if we get progress. If I can't do an adds roll, I don't get anywhere, then I gotta go where I know it'll flex out. But for now, boom, right at the problem here, right at the lock, right? Right around where the lock is. Right, so that's probably about as much. I'm dropping my weight into that. Again, we don't have as much as a Halligan bar. Not quite going. Well, shit, what would we normally teach? Well, let's start driving this thing right in here. You could. We could drive our fork into that space that we just tried to create. We gapped it, now we can drive our fork. Or we can come up here maybe and flex that down, get a full roll, and create some space. I could then capture that space with either my hammer or a wedge. Maybe I got a wedge on my side, right? Or I could capture with my hammer. I come in here, I capture there, I capture there, I capture here, right? Either one works. A wedge is a little bit easier to maintain. If I had it on me, capture that space I just created instead of fighting the lock down here, and we're going to work towards that lock. Real life, this can all be done pretty quick. I'm slowing down so you guys can see what's going on. Got that space there. Let's mine. I'm going to mine this wedge. So I'm coming in fork side, right where there's space. I'm mining this wedge. Let me try to create some distance. I pushed and I pushed. I just created more distance. I can resync. I'm pushing and pushing. Now I can drop down and maybe do the same thing. Now we're getting somewhere. So you heard it crack. So in 2 movements, instead of fighting down here, where I wasn't getting anything with an adz roll, I moved up top. Go back to this camera. You saw me try to do an adz roll here. Couldn't quite get it. Maybe with a full-size Halligan bar, maybe we'd get a little bit further, but I didn't fight it. I went up to where I know the door will gap. I gapped it up top, I captured that, and in 2 movements, you started to hear that progress that I couldn't get down there with a ton of force. Couldn't get it. Up here, 2 movements, relatively easy. All I'm doing is feeding that wedge in by hand while using the mechanical advantage, the higher mechanical advantage of our claw. Because this does not rob your mechanical advantage until this comes all the way down to the point. You actually have a better mechanical advantage because your distance between your fulcrum and load is really short. So your mechanical advantage is high. That's why I'm able to make progress easier. So let's do it again. Back to camera. Yep, where the hell camera that is. 2. So again, let's work that tool again. Now I can drop this wedge down to close to my lock, and I can just kind of keep doing that. And I'm working in closer and closer, like a can opener. Ooh, nice wedge drop down. My fork caught it. Let's try to get one more push, 2-handed, see if the door pops. If not, I will transition to, adz work behind the jam. I'm gonna try and give this a good push. Still hung up. Most doors are open by now, right? But let's go ahead and transition. We could leave that there. Here, let's leave that there while I switch to here. Take that out. Let's see if I can roll this, and then hopefully, in fact, I don't even want to test it because I want to show, go back to this camera right here. The reason I'm not rolling there, maybe it would go, but I do want to show you, extend our leverage with this thing, what that looks like. So I got my adz behind jam, my door's just about popped, create a little bit more pressure on there. Ooh, about going, right? Feel it coming back. Let's try a clearing maneuver off the stop. With this thing extended, let's see what happens. Now I'm coming off the back of the jam. Just a technique for making a long Halligan bar and finishing a door with these 2 tools. I got 90% of it done with just this and a wedge. This is there on standby if I had to drive or if I had to marry. I think we could have gotten it with just the wedge and this if I really wanted to. Tech set, tech bar, tech hammer, tech set. Live at Fdic. Come on out. Go to Lucas Oil Stadium. You'll be able to play with it there, get your hands on it. Come see us at our booth, Firefighter Row, next to Pig Tool. You'll be able to check it out there. Check out our other tools. Come get some discounts on fire wrap, stitch hooks, tech hammers. Get your hands on this thing. Pretty cool stuff, guys. So we'll have our production version of our Chicago adz there. If you ordered one, you come yell at us. Why don't you have it yet? We're right there. They'll be out there. Again, Tech ad set, Chicago ads, Tech bar. You'll see our 29 inchers out there as well. Go back to camera 1. That is our FDIC preview. The only thing we didn't show you was outward swinging. Oh, we have the stitch hook. We did forget, and I don't think there'd be a good way of showcasing this, but good point. Steve just mentioned, hey, Mitch, you never showed off the stitch hook. So we'll have stitch hooks out there. We got about 100 of them, just came in stock finally. Always recommend you wear gloves. I have an edge here. I have an edge here. But part of the point of this tool, again, was roof work being able to sound. Spread that load out. I'm going to come up here, sound this, spread that load out when I'm sounding. What do you have, my feet? You can move it up a little bit if you want. Yeah, it's the joystick over there. You can kind of center me on the roof here if you want. There you go. Anyway, part of this tool, sounding, right? I can still hook, right? I can puncture in material. I can hook it and pull it up to me. I can pry with decking boards, right? If we have decking boards, just like a New York hook, I can pry. But on the other end of this thing, the reason this edge was here is I can punch in and nothing's gonna get hung up. I don't have these set up in here yet, but we got some boards in there. Right now it's sitting on it. You wouldn't be able to see it anyway, but FDIC you will. You'll be able to come over to the side and see it. Knocking in material, snapping decking boards. Coming in here and snapping those decking boards. Or if I have tongue and groove, punching through drywall. If you happen to have plaster lath with chicken wire or something like that and I'm punching through, it's the whole point of having this edge on there. Obviously we can do a lot of work inside with the top part of this as well. You can always do a lot of work with that as well. Pulling trim, everything you could do with a New York hook you can do with this. Point is it's smaller. I can slice through drywall. I can slice through plaster lath. I can go in line with plaster lath and then turn this thing and pull plaster lath down. A lot of different options. Again, point of Firemalt Tools is always to bring you more capabilities. We just hope you guys can get your hands on these tools and try them out a lot more. With this being nice and thin, either end as well, I can slip behind stuff really, really well. Cabinets, that sort of stuff. Getting behind sheeting, if there's sheeting on a wall, getting behind it, yanking it, prying it out. So stitch hooks will be out there. We'll be showcasing it on roof work. We'll show you how we punch through and break decking. That's the overall it, guys. We'll be doing some live grip installs too at the show. We'll be doing some live fire rep grip installs so you can see how our HRD is installed and also our SFT with our new install process. It'll be posted here pretty soon. We made it a lot easier. So after all that, no comments came through, huh? Wow, I'm surprised. Last time you guys were engaging like crazy, so hope maybe our comment system ain't working, or you guys, it's Saturday, you got better things to do. But thank you for tuning in. I hope to do a lot more of this stuff, plan this stuff out a little bit further ahead of time. If you're coming to FDIC, please come see us. We are raffling off over $900 tool package. We got a stitch hook in there. We got a tech hammer in there. We got a mauler with our new rail split flame tempered handle on there. And we got an OG Chicago ads. All you have to do is come and see us at FDIC, get your badge scanned. You'll automatically be entered into that raffle. So thank you guys for the support so far. It's been a tough year. It's gonna be a tough year coming up, but we're gonna keep after it. So we appreciate you guys. As always, be safe, and we'll see you out there.